Srimate Shankaracharya Dhimate Bhutashaktaye Namostu Advaita Vedanta Sthapanostapamurtaye Shri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvarokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham Aparokṣānubhūti Prochyate Moksha Siddhaye Sadbhireva Prayatnena Vikshaniya Murmuhu. So we have attained or reached the 50th sloka. There the commentary portion is there to be covered fully. The sloka is Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vividhani cha karmanyapi samankrani vivartiti shrutir jagau. After having used yukti, that is logic, to show that the karyam, that is the world, which includes the jivas, is not different from the karanam Brahman. Now the Acharya is embarking upon giving a lot of Shruti Pramana, which also clearly say that the effect is non-different from the cause. So he had given one or two Shruti Pramanas earlier. In the 50th sloka, he is taking up the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad mantra, which in a very unique way says that there are three things in creation: Nama, Rupa, and Karma. Everything is in one way or another cannot be separated from these three. Everything in creation nothing in creation can be separated from these three things: Nama, Rupa, and Karma. So Nama is the name of an object, Rupa is the form of an object, and Karma is either the object that is we are considering now is performing, or something is assigned, some action is assigned to that object. So here the shloka says, Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vividhani cha karmanyapi samagrani vivartiti shrutir jagau. The Shruti says that Brahman alone is bearing in the sense, supposing I say that I am bearing this name is assigned to me, so I am bearing this name, and also I am also bearing a form, so this form is also mine, and then there is a karma action which I perform, so I am bearing the karma also. So I am the substratum on which the action, name, and form are all placed. So we can say that they are all superposed also. Ultimately, there is nothing wrong in that. But then in the Vyavaharic world, we can very clearly see that every object or every entity, every person is having a name and form and some action that is assigned to that entity. So naturally, that entity, see, in Shastraic terms, we use these two terms, two names, two terms, technical terms. One is dharmi and other is dharma. So dharmi is the one who is having the attributes, and dharma is the attribute. So a dharmi is a person, a man, supposing a human is a dharmi, then he will have, that human will have some gender. It could be male or female or something else. So that gender is a dharma. And then he will be born in some caste distinction. That is, it could be a Brahmana, Shudra, or whatever. So that is also a dharma. And then he will be of some ashrama, that is grahastha ashrama or whatever. So these are all dharmas which are all attaching themselves to this dharmi. So here every dharmi in the creation is having these dharmas of nama, rupa, and karma. So actually this shloka is saying that the nama, rupa, and karma that you see in every entity, that entity itself is Brahman. So Brahman itself has become everything in creation, and all the name, form, and karma, that is action, is attaching to that entity, which is actually Brahman basically. So because the Shruti has already said that all the beings emerge from Brahman, they remain in Brahman in Sthiti Kala, and in Pralaya Kala they become resolved in Brahman. Brahman withdraws everything within itself. So this linga means this indication is in Shastraic terms shows that the Upadana Karanam alone can be has to be the one in which everything lapses. So everything emerges, like for example, a pot comes from clay. The pot remains in clay only, because without clay, the pot cannot be there at all. And finally, when the pot is destroyed, what remains is clay alone. So the adhikaranam or the source from which an object arises, and that source with which alone the object is sustained, and that source into which the object goes back upon destruction is called upadana karanam. So here the Shruti presents Brahman as the upadana karanam, from which the whole creation has come out, and because of which alone, or by whose support alone the whole creation remains, is sustained. And then finally, when the creation is withdrawn or dissolved, when we in dissolution, everything lapses back into that source. So that source is Brahman. So on the analogy of clay, gold, and iron, the Upanishad has itself taught that the effect is non-different from the cause. So all these things have to be remembered when we read this sloka. Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vibidhani cha. So we can apply the example of gold to this sloka itself. So a gold ornament, like for example, a necklace, is made of gold. So the necklace has got a form, and it has got a name, and it has got a utility of being worn on the neck. And a ring will not serve this purpose of wearing on the neck. It will have a different purpose, different action will be there. So this way we can assign to every object a name, form, and action. So Brahmaiva sarvanamani rupani vividhani cha. Vividhani is vividha nama, vividha rupa. Then karma also, vividha karma also is there. Different karma is there for different objects. Samagrani, vibharti is the word which is crucial here. Brahman is the one which is bearing all this. So in colloquial language also, namadhari means a person who is having a name. And then Veshadhari means a person who is having a form. That Vesha he has taken upon himself. So this way, then Karmadhari also again will be someone who is doing that action. So this Brahman is that Namadhari, it is a Karmadhari, and which is a Veshadhari or the Rupadhari. So Vivarti iti Shruti Jago. Shruti says this. Then in the commentary, the Acharya is going to give us, tell us what the Shruti is. Nano Nana Nama Rupaka Rupa Karma Bhedena Vichitrani Bhutani Katam Brahmatmakani iti Ashankyaha. So the question is, in the creation we see so much of variety. One object is different from the other object. One name is different from the other name. One action one person performs is different from the action another performs. So how can, when there is so much of variety in name, form, and karma action, how can you say that everything is Brahman's? For everything, Brahman is the basis. So that's the question. The reply to that question is in this shloka. So the Acharya now gives out this Shruti. Trayamba idam nama rupam karma. It is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Iti Brihadaranyaka Shrutir Jagau Gayanam Kritavati Swadhikarinaha Shravayamasa Ityarthaha. So since the Acharya says it is Shruti says, Jagau means it is proclaiming. So to whom does it proclaim? It does proclaim, no doubt. But then that proclamation also has to be addressed to only such persons who are intent upon listening to it and who have faith in it. So even if the Shruti is proclaiming naturally, or if an audio is played in very high volume, only people who are interested in it will listen to it. Even if others, even if the sound is going into their ears, they will not be taking the meaning of it and they won't be devoted to it. So all these things are required. So that's why the Acharya says, Swa Adhikarinaha Shravayamasa Ityarthaha. Adhikari is the person, a candidate, who is Astika, who is intent upon listening to the Shruti, he is intent upon listening to the teaching of the Shruti, and he is intent upon benefiting from it. So only he is an Adhikari. So the Acharya very clearly says that the Shruti is giving this teaching to the person who is equipped with the necessary qualifications to listen to it. Then Kimityataha, what does the Shruti say? Brahmaiva sarvanamani akashari dehantan sanna visheshan. So now the Acharya gives the explanation of the Shruti. as to what it, how the name, form, and action are matched with the Shruti passage. So Brahmaiva Sarva Namani, all the names in creation are actually Brahman's names only. What are the objects in creation for which names are there? Akashadi Dehantan, Sangna Visheshan. So Akasha is the Acharya is also following the Upanishadic sequence itself. So the Upanishad sequence is shown to us, for example, which is very, very popular and very clear in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha, Akashad Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agner Apaha, Adbyah Prithvi, Prithivya Oshadayaha, Oshadibhyo Annam, Annat Purushaha. So it has given a very clear sequence. The subtlest being the Akasha, that comes first, and from that is Vayu, then from that is Agni, from there it is Jalam, and then from there it is Prithvi. Prithvi is the Prithvi Tattvam, which is Earth really. Then from Prithvi Tattvam, now it's very interesting, the vegetation, Oshadibhyo, Prithivya Oshadayaha. Oshadi is vegetation. So from Prithvi, the vegetation grows, and then from vegetation, Oshadibhya Annam. So vegetation turns into food, and that food is consumed by someone, and that some person who is consuming the food will generate or produce an offspring. So a human body or whatever body, animal body or whatever body is born out of food. So that sequence is there. So Akasha is at one end, and the Purusha, which is actually body. So the body is born. So Purusha means here body of the person. And again, the word Purusha is also significant here, because every body, whether it is animal or plant or whatever, is born from food only, no doubt about it. But then why does the Shruti says Purusha here? So Bhagavad Shankaracharya takes up the question and he answers. The Shruti mentions Purusha because the Veda is meant for Purusha only. The Veda is meant for humans alone. So because for the benefit of the Chaturveda Purushartha, for all the Purusharthas, for whatever the Purusha seeks, the Veda has got an answer. So it has got a way to help the seeker attain whatever goals he wants to attain, whether it is worldly goal or whether it is spiritual goal or whatever. For everything, the Veda is the basis, and the Purusha is the one who is going to ask for these things. So that is why it is called Purushartha. So that is why the word Purusha has been mentioned in the Shruti. That's what the Acharya gives as an explanation. So anyway, here the Acharya says, Brahmaiva Sarvanamani, what are all the names? Akasha is the name. So from there onwards to the human Purusha or the body. So every body has got a name which is called Deha or Shariram. So Akashadi Dehantan, everything is covered in this. Sangna Visheshan. Sangna is name. So Sangna Visheshan. Everything is each and every object has got a distinct name. Then Cha Punaha Vividhani Rupani. So for every object there is a form also. So what are the forms? Avakashadi Jivatman. So the form of Akasha, even though Akasha doesn't have a form strictly, the Shastra gives it a form, that is, the Akasha is something which accommodates everything. So the Avakasha, it gives Avakasha for everything. So that's why Akasha is said to have the form of Avakasha. So actually, when we think of space, we also think of the quality or the attribute of space, which provides us the opportunity, which enables us to place something in it. So that's why, for example, when you take a vessel, it has got an opening, it has got some space in it, and then we can put some liquid or solid or whatever in that vessel. So in that way, Akasha is that which accommodates everything. So accommodating everything is the form of Akasha. Then Akasha the Dvipadantan. Dvipada is the two-legged body. So human is the two-legged body, and some birds also, all the birds also have two legs only. So everything in four-legged, everything, centipede, millipede, everything is included in this category. So Avakashadi Dvipadantan. So the form of having two legs, two hands, and everything, all the forms are covered here. And the Panchabhutas also, each one of them has got some of the form or some form or the other. Then Nana Vikara Visheshan, Nana Vikara. So they are all of different manifestations, forms. These are the form of every object, all the objects. Api Shabdaha Charte. So the word in the shloka, Brahmaiva Sarvanamani Rupani Vividhani Cha Karmanyapi. So that Api means it is it includes something else. Karmanyapi Rupa Grahanam Gandhadi Grahanasya Api Upalakshanam. So Rupa Grahanam means in the shloka, it says that everything has got a form, a name, and all that. So when it says form means actually something which can be seen by the eye. That is, it has a shape or it has got a color. So, but then the word Rupa here, it's indicative of certain other things also. What are those other things? The Rupa is there for only those objects which are formed objects. But then, apart from Rupa, there are other things also, like each Bhuta, Panchabhuta, has got the attribute of Shabda, Sparsha, Gandha, Rasa, etc. So these things also have to be included. So this word Rupa is indicative of those things also. So Rupa Grahanam, Gandhadi, Grahanasyapi Upalakshanam. So Prithvi, for example, has got Gandha. Of course, it has got other things also. Then the Jalam, which is just before Prithvi, doesn't have Gandha, it has got taste, Rasa. Then before that is Vayu. Vayu has got Shabda, Sparsha, and Shabda and Sparsha. Shabda, Sparsha, these two are there. So Sparsha is the unique attribute of the Vayu Panchabhuta, Vayu Bhuta. Then Akasha, of course, it is Shabda, but apart from Shabda, this Avakasha Pradatratvam also is admitted to be an attribute of Akasha. Then Samagrani Karmani, then in the shloka it says Karmanyapi Samagrani Vivartiti Shrutir Jagau. So Samagrani Karmani. So the Samagrani, the Acharya attaches to Karmani. So Samagrani Karmani, Avakasha Pradhanadini, Snana Shauchadin, Kriya Visheshanapi Vibhakti. So Brahman is the one which is bearing all the karmas also. Karmas means it's action here. So what are the actions? For Avakasha, for Akasha, he has already mentioned it is Avakasha Pradhana. To give accommodation, to accommodate everything. So that is one action. Then Avakasha Pradhanadini, Snana Shauchadin. So Snana Shaucha, that is for human or for a human. There is Snanam and Shaucham. These are all actions that human performs. Adipadena, so many other things also he will perform, like standing, sitting, and bending and things like that, or working and all that. So everything is covered. And for every entity in the creation, some or the other action will be there, definitely. So all these things are there. Kriya Visheshan Api Vibhakti. So the Brahman is the one which bears all names, all forms, which includes Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, everything, and then all actions also. Kriya Visheshanapi Vibhakti. For that, he is giving a beautiful analogy. Rajwadikam iva sarpadi pratibhasam dadhati adhishtana darshana shunyan prati darshayati yataha. So here, the Acharya Swami Vidyaranya is adding lot of value to the shloka. So what the Acharya thinks here, that the shloka is implicitly saying, which he wants to bring out explicitly. So the shloka is saying Brahman bears everything. But then to say that Brahman bears everything is also not very correct, because Brahman cannot bear anything, because Brahman does not have any sangha at all. See, on a table you can keep so many things and then say the table bears everything. Or a human person, you can say that he is bearing a huge load on his head or shoulder or whatever. So although it is possible, but with Brahman, these things can't be said at all, because Brahman is not a material object at all. It doesn't have anything which can bear, nothing can bear. Brahman cannot bear anything that way. So how can this statement that Brahman bears all names, all forms, and all actions be correct? So the Acharya has got that question, and then for that he is giving a reply. Rajwadikam iva sarpadi pratibhasam dadati. So what he says is, for a person who is not clearly aware of what is in front of him, but while it's a rope which is in front of him, he is not clearly aware of what the object is. So what he thinks that it is a snake or some other object which is not rope. So just like a rope, a snake, a rope is mistaken for something else. In the same way, the Brahman is mistaken to be this whole world, which has name, form, and action. So that way, Brahman can be said to be bearing all the names and form and everything. So in the analogy also, we can accommodate this. The person, actually, his eye has contacted the rope alone. But then, because of some defect there in the locus or in himself, in his indriya, in his sense organ, or a confused mind and all that, he is not grasping it as a rope. So he concludes that it is a snake. So he says to somebody else, or he thinks to himself that this is a very poisonous snake. This is a very lengthy snake. It is a very shining one, or it is. He even goes to the extent of giving a name to it. It is a Naga Sarpa or some other Sarpa. So he is actually superimposing so many things on that. So he is superimposing name, form, and attributes and all that. Actually, which the rope is not, which cannot correspond with the rope at all. So this is what is happening. So in the same way, the world, the Brahman alone is wrongly seen as the world of name, form, and objects. So that way, just as in the analogy, the rope is the one which is bearing all these things in a superimposed way. The name, form, and attribute and all that the person superimposes on it. In the same way, Brahman is the one which the Shastra says is bearing all the name, form, and everything, which is actually a vivarta or a appearance due to avidya or maya. So that way, the Swami Vidyaranya has given a very, very important value addition to this shloka. Dadati iti adhisthana darshana shunyan prati darshayiti tirtaha. So to whom does this happen? Not to the knowledgeable person who is a jnani, but for the ignorant ones. And the ignorant ones are the ones who are not able to see the underlying truth, that is Brahman. In the analogy also, the person who is under the spell of this delusion or illusion does not know it's a rope. So in the same way, everyone in the world is ignorant of the underlying Brahman. They take the world of name, form, and action to be the truth, real, to be real. So to such persons, for such persons who do not have the understanding or the knowledge of the underlying truth, that is Brahman, Maya or Avidya shows all these things to them. So just like Avidya of a person conjures up a snake and all the qualities of the snake, he goes to the extent of giving, he might even explain to somebody else that this snake must be of about 6 months or 8 months or things like that. So all these things he cooks up. So all this cooking up is because of done by the manas, which is subject to this delusion or avidya. So in the same way, with regard to Brahman also, jivas who are interacting with the world, they do not know that it is Brahman that is underlying the world of name, form, and actions, but they take the name, form, and actions as real, and they go about with their samsaric life. So with this, we have covered the 50th shloka. We can go to the next shloka, 51.
Suvarna jayamanasya suvarnatvam cha shashvatam brahmano jayamanasya brahmatvam cha tatha bhavet. Suvarnat, from gold, jayamanasya, of those created, suvarnatvat, goldness, cha, and shashvatam, permanent factor, brahmanaha, of Brahman, jayamanasya, of those born of brahmatvam, nature of being Brahman, cha tatha, and so too bhavet, is.
Yeah. So we actually covered this and this shloka in the previous shloka itself, explanation, we will still do it again. Suvarna jayamanasya suvarnatvam cha shashvatam. So whatever is a product of gold, in that product, the eternal or the real aspect or the eternal aspect is the gold, which is the upadana karanam. Whereas the name form is not long-standing, or it is not eternal or real. That is why, for that reason alone, the Shruti says that it is unreal. So Vritike Tyeva Satyam. So it says that the material cause is alone is real, because the effect is something which has come into being. The product has come into being, whereas clay was there before also. The pot was made after that only. It has come anew. And saucers, jugs, and whatever is made of clay, they are produced, and they come into being, and they are called. Only upon production they get an existence. Before production, they had existence just as clay alone, but now after being produced, they have an existence as pot, saucer, jug, and things like that. So Suvarna Jayamanasya Suvarnatvam cha Shashvatam. So in all these, the material cause, gold in case of ornaments, is the one which is real, and which is the one which is pervading all the gold products, all the gold ornaments. So that is Shashvatam. Brahmanaha. So in the same way, Brahmanaha Jayamanasya Brahmatvam cha tatha bhaved. So in the same way, whatever has come out from Brahman, that's the whole creation. Brahman is the real, Brahman is the Shashvatam. The Brahman is the one which is eternal, whereas the others will have a date of manufacture and date of expiry. Between these two, they will have a seeming existence. So the Shruti wants us to. So you see, in when it is expressed in Bhagavatam and Bhakti and all that, the Bhakta says that Krishna alone is Shashvata. Everything will come and go. So I am interested only in Krishna. In the name of in the language of Vedanta, for example, in the Mundaka Upanishad, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirvedamayat Nastya Krita Kritena Tad Vijnanartham Gurumeva Vigachet Samitpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So a person who examines the whole creation, it's not that he goes to every nook and corner of the universe. It's impossible also. So from his own experience, from what the texts like Puranas and other and the elders say, he has come to a conclusion that there is nothing that is permanent in this creation. And there is only one thing that is permanent, that is the Upadana Karanam, or the basis, which forms the basis for this whole creation. And I am interested in only that. So that way he develops Vairagyam, and he goes to attain the knowledge of that Brahman. So Bhagavad Gita gives a very beautiful explanation there. And he says that nothing in creation can be, nothing that is eternal can be attained through action. So Nastya Krita Kritena. So Kritam is something which is produced or which is an action. Akritam is something which is not produced at all, which is already there. So that which is already there, without having been produced, that goal cannot be reached by through any action at all, because any action has got a beginning and an end, and any product that has come out of an action also has got a beginning and an end. So from anything that is in creation, we cannot attain that which is uncreated. So I want that uncreated one only, because whatever is within creation is ephemeral, and I'm not a candidate for these ephemeral things. I am a candidate for that eternal thing. So he distinguishes himself from the rest of the people in the creation or in his surroundings, and he decides to go for that. So here all these things are involved in this. Brahmano Jayamanasya Brahmatvam just Tatha Bhavet. Tatha means Shashvatam Bhavet. So for this, the Acharya is not elaborating, because it's very clear. Atra Loka Prasiddham Drishtantamaha Suvarneti. So it is very clear for everybody. Anybody who wants, in the world also, we behave in the same way with regard to gold. If a person has got a particular ornament, say a necklace, after some time, that person might decide to have a bangle instead of a necklace. So that person has got the option of exchanging this necklace for a bangle. So all these things are possible with gold. So with that possibility alone, this analogy is given. Whereas, so in the case of gold also, in the Laukika person also knows that the gold that is contained in this necklace is valuable. That is what is valuable here. And for that exchange of gold only, I am getting something else made of gold. So that the gold is eternal or permanent, relatively at least, is already, that knowledge is there for the Laukika person also. And the Laukika also very clearly knows that the design or the form or the name is not permanent. That is why he is going in for an exchange. So these things are all involved in our day-to-day life also. That is why when the Shruti also gives an example, that example should be something which is which we can relate to easily without any difficulty. So there's no way, I mean, there's no requirement for us to go to a course to understand the example. No, that is not there. So it is very clearly known. So that is why the Upanishad also gives such examples. So atra lokaprasiddham drishtantamaha suvarneti. So in the same way, Brahman also, in the world, in the case of world also, once a person knows that everything has come from Brahman alone, and everything in truth is Brahman alone, so he will he will start practicing disregarding name, form, and action in creation. So that is the trait of a mumuksha. So that's what it is. So we will end this session here. Om Tat Sat. Shastram Shavira Mimamsa Devastu Parameshwaraha Acharya Shankaracharyaha Sankume Janma Janmani Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvagnam Vidushekara Bharatim Shri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karnam Tam Namamyaham Aparokṣānubhūti Prokṣate Moksha Siddhaye Sadbireva Prayatnena Vikshaniya Muhurmuhu Om Tat Sat.